Welcome back to Secrets Behind the Stars, your trusted haven for the most captivating behind-the-scenes moments in Turkish film and television. If you live for the untold truths and fragile emotions that shape what we see on screen, make sure you're subscribed, tap the join button to support the channel, and leave a like. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on a quiet storm that burst open right in front of the entire crew. Two of Turkey's brightest talents, Cemre Arda and Gökberk Yildirim, found themselves caught in a shocking emotional clash that nobody saw coming. What should have been a routine day of filming transformed into a hush of tension, stillness, and overwhelming feeling. The day began like any other. Lights warmed to their marks, scripts were annotated and tabbed, and the crew settled into the rhythm of a challenging scene. They were tackling a sequence that demanded precision and commitment, the kind of moment both Cemre and Gökberk are known to elevate with their presence. The director, chasing a fresh level of authenticity, suggested a small experiment, a touch of improvisation to keep the scene alive. And with that single suggestion, everything changed. Cemre, whose reputation rests on pouring her whole self into every role she touches, needed absolute concentration for that instant. It was one of those moments where an actor locks into a fragile emotional frequency and protects it like glass. But when Gökberk, following the director's guidance, added an unscripted move, maybe a line, maybe a gesture that didn't exist in the pages, something delicate in the air cracked. An unexpected emotional reaction surged to the surface before anyone could anticipate it. Eyewitnesses say the camera had barely cut when Cemre's composure slipped. Her hands trembled, her face fell, and her eyes welled suddenly, as if she'd been holding back a tide for too long. She whispered something too soft for anyone to catch, then turned and walked off the set, closing herself into her dressing room with a finality that stopped everyone in their tracks. The studio froze. Conversations died mid-breath. The silence was thick, almost suffocating. Even the director looked momentarily lost, as if the floor plan of the day had been redrawn under his feet. Within minutes, filming was cancelled for the day. People exchanged glances but stayed quiet. No one wanted to be the first to break the code of confusion and concern. And very soon, it became clear that this wasn't just a single outburst. Insiders began to reveal a pattern that had been forming for months. The growing distance between Cemre and Gökberk, the separate breaks, the increasingly formal tone of their rehearsals, the creative disagreements that never exploded but never truly eased either. Emotions, unaddressed and accumulating, had reached their threshold. The production company issued a brief, tightly worded statement. "This is an internal matter. No further comment will be made." The restraint only stoked the flames. Overnight, social media erupted. Threads and comments multiplied in the thousands as fans tried to decode what happened. Hashtags tied to their names climbed the trends list. People combed through old interviews, press appearances, and behind-the-scenes snippets to find the moment when the mood began to shift. Many defended Cemre, pointing to the often underestimated pressure placed on actresses, the expectations to be flawless, to be resilient, to deliver every beat without showing the cost. Others took Gökberk's side, arguing that he was simply respecting the director's request, doing the job as instructed. What do you think? Was Cemre's reaction understandable given the context, or was it merely the brittleness of exhaustion at the end of a long schedule? Tell us in the comments, we truly want to hear how you see it. Behind closed doors, the situation escalated quickly. The director called an urgent meeting with producers and department heads. Proposed solutions were set on the table like triage options: pause production temporarily to give everyone breathing room, rework the script to limit Cemre and Gökberk's shared scenes until trust could be rebuilt, and, in the most drastic scenario, discuss replacing one of the leads. That last suggestion sent a shockwave through the team. Both are vital to the project's heartbeat, and losing either would reshape not just the story on paper but the chemistry that pulls audiences in. Meanwhile, crew members faced the domino effect: shifting schedules, financial worries, and a troubling uncertainty that reached from the lighting grid down to the assistants pushing carts. What had looked from the outside like a single dramatic moment between two stars was, for everyone involved, rapidly becoming a full-scale professional crisis. Still, a larger, necessary conversation took shape in the midst of the chaos. Should producers provide structured mental health support to performers who are pushed to emotional extremes for the sake of artistry? Does the pursuit of perfection justify the personal toll it can take? And should clear emotional health provisions be woven into every production contract, as standard as safety briefings and call sheets? These weren't just abstract questions anymore, they had turned urgent, immediate, and real. In the days that followed, both stars remained publicly silent. Cemre's social feeds, usually sprinkled with candid smiles and set glimpses, stilled. In her comments, fans poured in love and encouragement, urging her to stay strong and take whatever time she needed. Gökberk, careful with his words, steered clear of anything that might split public opinion further. According to people close to the set, he returned to work composed but noticeably distant, walking that fine line between professionalism and guardedness. To prevent any further fractures, the production brought in mediators and mental health professionals to facilitate private conversations between Cemre and Gökberk. The goals were practical and humane: protect the project, protect the people making it, and rebuild a sense of balance on set. The meetings were said to be steady and respectful, but some insiders cautioned that healing would not be instant. Trust, once strained, takes time to knit itself back together. Until that bond is strong again, peace on set may feel delicate, less like a resolution and more like a truce. Meanwhile, the fan discourse grew more complex. Online communities dissected gestures in past footage, replayed interviews for subtext they might have missed the first time, and spun timelines of tiny moments that, in hindsight, seemed to point to something simmering. The event itself, which lasted only minutes in real life, ballooned into a nationwide conversation about boundaries, respect, and the realities of working under relentless pressure in a creative environment. Step back, and one truth stands out. Behind every immaculate scene that takes our breath away lies a fragile human heart. What happened between Cemre Arda and Gökberk Yildirim wasn't merely a production hiccup. It was a reminder that creativity and emotion are inextricable, and that the intensity we applaud on screen often comes from places of genuine vulnerability. Whether this rupture leads to reconciliation or a respectful distance, audiences will be watching closely, and so will we. There are whispers that the script has been subtly adjusted for the next block of shooting, a few beats shifted to allow air around the most emotionally heavy exchanges. Some say Cemre requested clearer boundaries for improvisation, a framework that protects her concentration without stifling spontaneity. Others note that Gökberk has been meticulously checking in with the assistant directors before trying anything new, carefully aligning with the process to avoid accidents of intention. Small steps, but they could be the beginnings of a new rhythm. And yet, nerves remain. The crew moves with extra care, aware that the atmosphere is still tender. A joke that might have landed months ago now gets swallowed back. Notes are delivered with more gentleness than usual. Even the slate clap seems quieter, as if the sound operator is afraid of disturbing a sleeping bird. In the ebb and flow of high-stakes storytelling, everyone is learning to listen not just to the director's calls, but to the emotional weather in the room. As the set inches forward, the production's leadership is drafting guidelines that may outlast this crisis. Practical measures for checking in with performers before demanding deep emotional exposures, scheduled decompression breaks after heavy scenes, and on-call counselors who understand the particular strain of acting. If implemented, these changes could become a new standard, a sign that the industry is ready to evolve. For now, the two stars remain united in their silence outside of work. Those close to them say that Cemre has been taking long walks between rehearsals, earbuds in, eyes distant but determined. They say Gökberk has been arriving early, running lines quietly with an assistant, recalibrating the edges of his performance with the precision of someone who wants to get it right, not just for the camera, but for the person across from him. Maybe that's the most important part of all this, the acknowledgement that performance isn't just about hitting marks. It's about trust. It's about the permission to be open and brave, knowing that your scene partner will hold the space with you. Without that trust, even the most perfect lighting can feel cold. With it, a whisper can move mountains. We'll keep watching, listening, and bringing you the details as they unfold. If you felt the pull of this deep dive, remember to like, subscribe, and tap join to support Secrets Behind the Stars. Until next time, keep your heart open and your curiosity alive. The story behind the scene is always richer than you think, and in those quiet corners, the truth waits to be found.